Okay, let's hope this works. Please work. Please work. Yay! Okay, video's working. Is audio working too? And audio, does it sound right? Does it sound like well, or does it sound super low? Oof, if I'm already mumbling my words, it's gonna be a long Caturday. Hi guys, hi 65 Sunny Day, hi Nicole, hi Alex, hi Otto, hi Fifiolin, hi Patricia, hi Fairy Dust, hi guys. Okay, good. I was worried the audio might have reset like it did last time when I did nothing and suddenly it was the other mic that picked up the sound. Okay, so I was gonna like have you guys decide if I keep on this, which is a piece for a future video, or if I paint something else, but I think I'm just gonna go with this, you know. It's a bit different from usual because I'm testing out acrylics, and this is not watercolor, but yeah, I wanted to make a video because I know that a lot of people have some sort of interest into acrylic gouache, which is just a fancy way of saying matte acrylics, and I suddenly realized that these are matte and acrylics, and they are a lot less expensive than Turners or Holbeins. So I wanted to, you know, give them a try. So I wrote an email to Deco Art, to Americana, and they were Deco Art, and they were kind enough to send me a selection of paints. But I've been really struggling to, not because the paints are like terrible, the paints are good, but I don't know how to use acrylics. So I did a first painting, and I did a lot of work on that video using the first painting, and I was like, you know what? It's not a very good painting. Like I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought about it and decided to do completely different paintings. And now this is technically version 2.5 of this one, because I did the first color of it and it was awful. So I was like, So I put that one aside and I did this one, which is like the complement piece of this one, and this one went a bit better, and I was like, okay, so now that I know a bit more what I'm doing, I'm gonna see if I can fix this one, which would also be interesting to see if that can be done, because it's one of the appeal of acrylic gouache. It's the opacity and the covering power, and the fact that it's matte, so it doesn't become shiny or whatnot. Grr, acrylic gouache. Why grr? So yeah, I hope this will be fun enough. Acrylic, think of them like more opaque gouache, but that would depend on the quality of the acrylic paint as well. Craft paint would, yeah, that's what I wanted to figure out, because these are craft paints, but they're like and keep in mind this is Canadian currency, so they're like $2 a bottle of almost 60 ml. So at $2 a bottle you can definitely buy a few and not really go over budget. Like a single tube of acrylic gouache from Holbein is like $6-7, so you can get 3 colors of these for the price of one acrylic gouache. And I don't mean to say that like you have to get these because they're so good, but it's just a really nice, I wanted to see if it would work as sort of an approachable way to try acrylic gouache, where you can get a feel for the way the paint behaves without having to bought separately, because I realized that you kind of need white when you're using something that is more opaque. Okay, so Ferida says, I'll amend my statement. The marketing term acrylic gouache. Okay, so we're definitely on the same page regarding that. It's a stupid way of naming these because this is just matte acrylic. It's not gouache. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. And to be honest, I took out the white to cover up like things that I wasn't happy with, and I mean, it's nice. Like I was sort of expecting to have to do many layers and that it would be, you know, transparent-ish because it's craft paint and it's cheaper, but they're quite nice actually. So let's keep on figuring this out. And also, this is my super makeshift stay wet palette. It works. I think they're just a bit thinner than more traditional acrylic gouache. Yeah, they're a bit more liquid. But honestly, I'm super impressed by some of the colors because, oops. Like any paint, any gouache especially, like not all gouache colors are equally opaque because some pigments are just transparent, and you might add more pigment to make the color more intense and more opaque, but it's still gonna be transparent. And you can kind of see what I mean by that. These are like all the colors I got of these, and I made this swatch sheet. And you can see how this color, the desert cactus is super opaque. Like you can almost not see the black. Like I didn't put like this lower area is one layer, and then this is a second layer of it. So that's the same for all the swatches, and these three are like very, very opaque. You can almost lose the black and almost lose the difference between the two layers. So they're good. And you can see that a pigment that is more transparent, like what we get for the saffron yellow, is definitely more transparent as a gouache as well. So it's not the same for every color. These were like $2 per bottle in Canadian dollars, mind you, and without any sort of discount. So if you can get a discount, if you can get them like at a more cheap, like a better price, I mean, it's not a big expense to get a few colors to try it out. And also, since these are craft paints, they can sort of be very versatile for a bunch of stuff. Hey, just your average young artist. Hi. Hi, Annette. Hi, Kevin. Hi, guys. Like I've definitely tested my that was water, that's not good. Definitely tested my fair share of you know, craft supplies and student ranges and all of that, and yeah, I'm definitely like surprised by some of these things. And also, funnily enough, these are made in the US. They're made in Kentucky, which, you know, is refreshing. The last time I bought some fancy acrylic gouache, that was the Liquitex ones that I wanted to try. So I bought like 2 colors of those, just to, like, there was a sale, and I was like, okay, let's pick your sort of favorite colors and see what it's all about. And I realized that they're made in China, and I'm just like, this is a long way to travel for paints, and it's kind of silly, and they were expensive too, so I'm like, meh. But these craft paints, I mean, almost every art supply store has them. The Americana, they're very easy to find, and it's a huge display, and they have like all sorts of the range of color is like huge. I'm gonna show it when I do the sort of review video in itself, because I have the catalog. They send me the catalog, and you can see all the colors in there, and I was like, whoa, how am I supposed to pick just a few from a range this big? And I ended up picking just the color that spoke to me at the moment, and it didn't make for the most clever palette. Like, it has a bit of it has some issues. Like, I don't have any really dark color, and since these are not like watercolor, you cannot really mix them to get something darker in a way. It's always gonna remain the same value, if that makes sense. Hey, Okuni, hi! It's you and the Marmalade Boys. Aww. I hope the camera is working well. It's the camera that was giving me a hard time. And I had to reboot my computer, and then it seemed to be okay. And Nicole says, I'm always a fan of paints that don't get in your way when you're painting. I grew up with craft paints. I had mostly apple barrel paints. They work on just about every surface. I think these are very similar to apple barrel. I kind of wish I had these paints when I grew up. Like, I don't have memories of really hitting up the art supply store and being told to, like, oh, hey, pick some paints, pick some colors you want. I had a lot of hand-me-downs. Hey, Lucine, hi! Aw, I don't really like overly thick paints. Well, you have acrylic paints come in so many viscosities that you can really find what you want. They even have like acrylic inks, and you cannot really have anything more liquid than that, I guess. Are we doing gouache today? It's acrylic, actually. It's matte acrylic, or as some would say, acrylic gouache. And yeah, it's layerable, and I don't know, perhaps you see a different view of it. Perhaps it's a nightmare on camera, but it's really kind of nice. It does the job decently well. Grr. Nicole says, I had some paintings with craft paints in my portfolio to get into high school, and the teacher basically told me never to use them professionally. Why? Why? Oh my gosh. Well, I guess it depends on what your professional goal is, but like, if you're gonna scan a drawing or like not use the actual painting directly, why wouldn't they work? Oh my gosh, I swear art school is 95% messing with your brain and 5% actually learning things that you won't have to unlearn later on. I always did wonder how matte acrylics work with the brushes. Do you have to clean them with anything special? No, you just clean them with water. It's just like acrylic. It's just that it's matte instead of shiny. I use those to paint layers for 2D paper animation. Oh, really? They work on cellophane. Awesome. That was part of my like thinking process to get to these. Is I was watching on YouTube. There's a few videos still that must be about at least 20 years old or so by now. Oh my gosh. But it's one of the background painter artists for Samurai Jack, who recorded some of his process painting the backgrounds, and it's all done traditionally. So they were using special the same paints they use for cells, which is basically like when you paint on plastic. And it's the very, very traditional way of making animation is you paint the drawings on transparent plastic, and then you use a camera to overlay everything, and you take a picture of it. And that's one frame. And movies have 24 frames per second, so yeah. But anyway, I was looking at this video, and they were using some sort of matte vinyl paint that is, of course, not a thing anymore, because there is almost no traditional animation that is made nowadays in terms of the way it's colored. It's mostly colored digitally, so they don't really have a demand for these paints. And I was like, well, okay, so that's not an option. What else is there? And I was like, well, I know that the Ghibli studio uses poster paints for their backgrounds, but poster paints is more like regular gouache, meaning that it's rewettable, so you can't really layer. And the videos I was looking at were more you could layer a lot of colors because it was acrylic. It was the vinyl paint was a plastic like acrylic. So anyway, I was thinking, and eventually I googled something like matte acrylic, because I was out of ideas, and these sort of came up as a result. And I was like, oh, I've seen these before, and they're like super inexpensive, but I did not realize that they were matte too. And that got me thinking, like, would they be a good substitute for the paints that they used to do the backgrounds back then? And that was what I was going on for my first try that didn't pan out. Mostly because I was trying to paint something in a style that I am definitely not skilled at yet, or at all, but you know. If it dries on the brush, well, you have to rinse it when you're done. Like, as long as you're painting, you're fine. But when you're done, you just rinse it right away, and you should be good. But there are ways to bring brushes that have dried acrylic. There are ways to sort of revive them. Matte paint looks so clean in backgrounds. Yeah, I agree. I think it's the way it's because it doesn't reflect light, because it's matte. Yeah, and I mean, it always cracks me up because definitely Ghibli Studio has a following, with reason, and a lot of people are like so blown away by the backgrounds, with reason as well. But then you realize that they use the most inexpensive paint that they can to paint them, and you're like, wait. Like, over here it's very difficult to find something similar. You almost have to try and get the same paints they do, because but it's gonna be more expensive anyway, because it's not something you have to import from Japan, so pricey. But yeah, like, it's the only tools we have to try and replicate the techniques and the style are like super expensive paints, which, you know, kind of cracks me up. I think it is fairly a common recommendation when using acrylics to, like, you don't use sable. Using natural hair for acrylics is kind of not necessary. You're better off using a slightly stiffer synthetic, and it's gonna work better with the paint than natural hair. I was inspired by I Have Your Heart by Kim Binder. Holy crap, apple. I'll have to check that out. The Molly Crabapple sounds really familiar. So I'm curious to see what that's about. So, how is everyone this weekend? How has your week been? Natural hair would carry too much water. Yeah, you don't want to thin it, and I think natural hair is too soft too. I think you get a more even layer of color by using something a tiny bit more stiff. I do hear that Miyazaki uses Holbein watercolors. I think the Ghibli Museum sells his personal selection, as I said. Yeah, you can buy, I think Meow Meow Kapow has an unboxing video of that. And yeah, you get a set of 24 colors, a plastic palette, a brush, a little pamphlet, and a sketchbook, I think. And yeah, he uses them a lot to... I keep making the camera move. He uses Holbein a lot because of the way he works with his sketches and his storyboards. But it's I feel like with everything the studio does, it's more a matter of what is available to them rather than seeking specific performances from their materials. Like Holbein in Japan is inexpensive and easy to find, so of course he would go for these paints. It's definitely just a tool for him. It's not... It like in itself, it doesn't mean anything. I'm trying to stop using oil because I'm actually allergic. Oh. I got a rash or it goes on my hand, so I'm replacing it with acrylic and acrylic retarder. Huh, do you know what causes the rash? Because oil paint is just pigment and oil, so are you allergic to the oil, like linseed or walnut or whatever oil is in your paint? And welcome back, Otto. I'm not mentioning any specific dates, of course, but it's Otto's birthday soon-ish, and let's all wish Otto a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. No, don't dip your brush in your tea. The only thing... this is gonna sound so dumb. The only thing I'm really annoyed with these bottles is that whenever you try to open them and they open, you can so easily end up with your thumb right in the paint that just opened up. And that's about the only beef I have with these. Because I've put my thumb in the paint so many times and I'm like, ugh. No. Deploy the birthday wishes. Yeah. Let's deploy the posse power of the birthday wishes. Ooh, Dense's birthday hula for you. That must be really, really nice. Yeah, exactly, Lucine. That's sort of. I feel like possibly some people miss that point, but it's definitely not the supplies that make the artwork what it is. It's definitely the painters being mind blowing. We've been rewatching and watching all the Ghibli movies on Netflix because they're there. They finally landed in Canada, and beautiful. It's just so beautiful. I'm like, oh. The whole bind is consistent, and I guess that's really important if it takes you 6 years to finish a piece. 6 years to finish a movie or finish a painting? Lucine says, I remember someone saying that a beginner artist needs good material to progress, but a master artist can do amazing things with whatever they have at hand. Dude, I agree with that. From personal experience of people I've seen work with stuff, it holds true. We saw only yesterday, not long ago, and I was... What the heck? I swear this camera hates me. What is happening? What's wrong with you? Oh wait, it is upside down. Dude, stop scaring me like that. It is, the paper is upside down. That's fine. That's the proper side, and then I flip my paper around to paint something, and then I'm gonna put it back properly. Whew. Yeah, I just rotated the paper. Okay. I had a small heart attack over that. I was like, what's happening again? Why do you hate me so? Good grief. But yeah, what I was trying to say is that only yesterday, I think, has some of the most amazing backgrounds I've ever seen. Because the parts of the flashbacks are watercolors, mostly, and they're treated in a really special way. And like everything that's not a flashback has the regular painted backgrounds that are just so lovely. Hey Susan, hi. Yep, Theo Yichi doing a great piece with squeezy cheap paint from the dollar store. Well, the paint that comes from Daiso, the set of 6, 8, I don't remember, but the tiny set of watercolor they sell for like $3 is really nice too. So you know, sometimes it's not the tools themselves. Okay, I'm flipping the drawing again, guys. I don't know why, but when I booted the stream as I always do, without changing anything, the camera was like missing half the screen and flickering so bad, and I was like, why? Why are you doing this? Why? Please don't. Oh. Otto says, in the end, it's whatever you learn to use the most. You can do a lot of amazing work with it if you learn the medium well. That's very true. We kind of have it easy because we have access to so many different, like there's so much choice. But I bet you that if there was only one type of watercolor available, we would find ways to get good with it. Might be annoying sometimes, but you know. Does it have hiccups now too? Oh my gosh, am I gonna survive the camera hijinks of today? Also, at some point recently, Windows updated, and now it's pestering me to use a pin. And I'm like, how is a pin of like 6 numbers more secure than a password that has 12 letters, numbers, and signs in it? Please explain that one to me. Annoying. You know what's annoying? Eyeshadow ground into gum arabic. What do you mean? Like paint that's made from eyeshadow? It doesn't work all that well from experience because they add extra things into the eyeshadow, and it doesn't make for a nice looking paint. Well, at least with the few times I've tried. I've had a bit more success with loose powder eyeshadow, but yeah, it's not the best. I love all Ghibli movies I've watched, but I think my favorites are Mononoke, Spirited Away, and Holt's Moving Castle. My good friend thinks they're all very slow except for Hall, and I think Hall goes too fast, and I have to watch it to really get what's going on. That's interesting, Lucine. I'm sort of realizing that most of my favorite Ghibli movies are from Takahata. Kantoku, well, the director Isao Takahata rather than Miyazaki. Yeah, paint made from eyeshadow is kind of tricky. I'm gonna finish my tea before I put my brush in there. But yeah, I saw only yesterday, and it was really awesome. And we saw My Neighbors the Yamadas, and it was so fun and refreshing, and like a really, really, really fun thing to watch. And yeah, we saw Pompoko, which was pretty weird, and Princess Kaguya, which was very interesting too. I think my favorite movie by Miyazaki so far is My Neighbor Totoro. One of the best things about Ghibli movies, taking someone who isn't super versed and allowing them to realize Hal is actually Batman. Any names I could watch? I did watch the cat movie you talked about, and it's so cute. Oh man, The Cat Returns is the best. It is so good. Oh, well, it depends. If you really liked Mononoke, Spirited Away, and Hall's Moving Castle, I'm not sure if you would necessarily enjoy the ones I enjoyed the most. So, trying to think. Did you see Porco Rosso? Porco Rosso. I can't say that. And oh yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service. That's a good one. We saw Whispers of the Heart, which is really quite nice too. I think so far the only one that I did not really enjoy was Ocean Waves. I'm wondering if it's something that did not translate well, because even if you watch them with the audio in Japanese, we have to use the subtitles. So I'm wondering if that one was weirdly translated and as such didn't really come across as it would have if I could understand the Japanese dialogue. Maybe what I liked about those isn't what I like about your favorites, but I like trying new things. That's a good point. Nota says, so my husband just walked up to me with ice cream and I love him very much. Aww. What's the ice cream flavored? I think that the only thing so far that really takes me a bit away from the movies that well, it's not just Miyazaki, but they do a lot of really young girls falling in love with young boys as well, and it's always this true love, and it's always so intense. And I mean, it takes me out of Disney movies as well, so it's not like a peculiar thing, but we just saw Spirited Away and I'm like, but Chihiro is so young. And she's like, everybody's alluding to their true love and whatnot, and I'm like, this is just weird. This is peculiar. I kind of preferred Totoro in that sense because it's not about that. There's not this this dynamic of girl and boy fall in love. So the ice cream is Ben and Jerry's with topped salted caramel brownie. Oh man. Dear Ben and Jerry's, could you please make sure that you make more vegan ice creams that don't have any peanut butter in it? Because it's not bad, but there's like way too many flavors of them with peanut butter, and we kind of need one that's like 7 different version of chocolate something in the ice cream. Thank you. Okay, so Otto says it's the concept of Hatsukoi, or first love. In Japan, it's considered to be the most innocent and purest form of love. Okay. Interesting concept, but not for me. It's just so... It's kind of, for me, like I'm always just speaking my perception of things, but it's what would take me out of it, because I'm not that level of romantic, or I think I'm too grounded to really put any kind of emotions into something like that. It's a really cute concept. It's nice. It's poetic and all, but also it kind of doesn't translate all that well, like to our take on love and all of that. So like they say, oh, we love they love each other and we will see each other again, and like the American mindset on love is like you get married and you have kids. So it's just weird to have this overlay of notions. But it says the ice cream, the top has a thick layer of brownie chocolate thick cream thing. Thus it's called... Oh, dude, that sounds amazing. It's also considered the only form of romantic love that is acceptable to make films and TV show about. Really? Wow. When you consider that they are making arranged marriage once children are born, actually having the children choose someone to love is higher. Yeah, that's dodgy territory. Hey, Lee! It's been a while. Hi! It's the same way couples aren't allowed to show any public displays of affection. My mother has to lie to people that we are on the honeymoon all the time just because we hold hands. Oh, good grief. Oh. Well, you know what? I would fit in there well. I'm not big on this public displays of affection just because I'm shy about that. Damn it. Now I looked up vegan Ben & Jerry's, but like their US lineup, and there are so many. I'm not even vegan, but actually prefer their vegan ones, and weirdly their low-calorie ones. I kind of wish that they would make them generally a tiny bit less sweet, because Ben & Jerry ice cream is really, really sweet. And it doesn't really need to be this level of sweetness in general. I mean, here we don't have that stigma with public displays of affection, but I mean, sometimes people are like climbing over each other in the subway, and you're like, you know, you could wait until you're home to sort of climb over each other and do archaeological digs into each other's mouth, you know. It's kind of a bit too much. We are very PDA. Always hold hands. Aww. You also get glares on public transport. In Japan, or I mean... In Japan, right? I mean, Japan is the country where most married couples don't sleep in the same bed. That's just... Once you marry, you're not supposed to be in love with your partner anymore. Proud to be all scandalous. Okay, we don't climb over each other and the other... Okay, but I mean, yeah, that's... I mean, personally, like, to see people holding hands is just, like, cute. To see people kiss, I always feel a bit like I'm intruding. Always like, ooh, sorry, I'm there. And yeah, the climbing over each other is where I draw the line, definitely. Yeah, light kisses are cute. Light kisses are actually, they actually look like a couple thing, you know. They don't look like the passionate stuff kind of always feel a bit like it's a matter of life or death, you know. And I'm like, well, dude, if it's that bad, just stay home, you know. I don't know. I'm not big on it. I'm still laughing at your things. That's what it looks like. Ferda says, definitely agree that Ben & Jerry's is very sweet, sweeter than I'd like, but honestly that goes for pretty much all those types. Yeah, definitely. I have to eat a lot of vegan ice creams, and they tend to be a bit better, but we never get anything that fancy as Ben & Jerry's, like with the brownies in it and you know, cake and brownie and cookie batter and all this stuff. I'm not into tongue excavations. Seriously, get modest. Yeah, that's the thing. You can do the tongue excavation thing at home. That's perfectly fine. That's where it belongs. That's you deal with that perfectly well at home. No problemo. But oh my gosh, I get so bothered when it's in public. Because I kind of forget that it's a public space and I feel like I'm somewhere I shouldn't be. The things I would do if I was like a big buff guy, very tall. Get a room, you too. Like someone that stupid teenagers cannot really talk back to. Because you're like, dude, sometimes I just want to get some sense into those people. Yeah, it's something I said. I said that some people have public displays of affection that are basically climbing over each other and doing archaeological digs into each other's mouth. Yeah, no tongue excavation in public here. But it might... Oh, yeah, in Japan, yeah. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Holding hands like pecks of kisses and maybe putting my face on your shoulder are treated like we're naked having sex. Oh, bro. Come on, Japan. Come on. That's like affectionate stuff. That's not like the really awkward steamy stuff that you're like, ugh, please don't do that. It brings back awful memories of teenage years, not of things I would personally do, but things I would see friends do and be like, welp, this is awkward. I was a teenager in the end of the 90s and early 2000, and that's when there was a really big interest into belly button piercing and tongue piercing, and I cannot see a tongue piercing with a straight face now. I'm like really troubled by them. Like, gee, I wonder what they're used for. Ugh. My mom will not sit with us when we get on the train. Oh no. Oh my gosh. Regarding people getting all passionate in public, it happened a lot to my classmates in the final year of high school because they couldn't do it at home where their parents were. There's a difference between doing it in a very crowded bus or subway. I don't know what you call them, the tube, the whatever, the underground trains, you know. And to find kind of a hidden or a bit reclusive space in a public area, you know. I mean, in a crowded bus or subway, this is just... I mean, we see it a lot. There's a lot of sort of videos that have been filmed about really lewd stuff happening on public transit, but good grief. Definitely Okuni. I was definitely very guilty of much gross PD in my youth. Oh, well, you know, being young has kind of comes with that, but there's still like a range. You can like, it's gonna be more of a display, but it doesn't have to be the full display, if you know what I mean. Good grief, Kevin, what? Laughing my butt off. Youth PDA. Youth PDA is a good expression for it. Atha says, I was at a theme park queuing for a ride. One of them had their boyfriend with her. She is super public display of affection. At one point she undid the poor dude's belt. Like, what was her endgame there in the theme park queue? That's the worst. It's like, we can see, and I don't want to see that. Please don't. There are kids around. Though that's the kind of moment you want a kid to be like really loud and ask about what's going on. Because that's just like bring out the popcorn. That's the perfect moment for that. Don't make out that far in public. Come on, people. Some people are actually like attracted to that kind of adrenaline, but bleh. A colleague of mine has a tongue piercing and he's a foot taller than I am, so his mouth is about eye level and my eyes feel drawn like a moth to a light just because it's shiny and distracting. It is, and I don't know, it's... I kinda have yet to hear from someone of the appeal of the tongue piercing that is not like completely a sexual thing, because it affects the way you speak. It can clang on the teeth and eventually mess up your teeth. And yeah, I'm like, it's not visible that much. It's not like an eyebrow piercing or an earring or, you know, something that people will see. So like a style statement in a way, because it's there and it's saying, look, I like this. The tongue piercing is just like... Anyway, let's keep this as for all ages as we possibly can with that kind of topic. Friends, there's a difference between parking and indecent exposure. Yeah, that's the thing. The tongue piercing has benefits in private, but yeah. Those years. Oh hi, I used to have a tongue piercing. It doesn't really get in the way of speech or mess up your teeth. A lip piercing. Oh really? Okay. Because, I don't know, the person I knew who had such a piercing back then, it would really often clang on their teeth. So I was like, dude, is it gonna mess up something? And it can... Well, I've seen also it affects some people's speech. I cannot remember the proper word in English, but, you know, it makes the S sounds more pronounced. But I guess it depends on the person's mouth and piercing itself. Like if it's a big like bling. How do you call it? Howdy, y'all been listening in while I'm thinking. Hey, Boxapaint, hi Paolo, hi guys. I had my tongue pierced for about 15 years, but between that... Oh. Killed my gums. Oh no. I don't know why, but gum issues are really not fun. Well, they must have got it done wrong. It should never clang on your teeth or get in the way of your speech whatsoever if it's properly... Oh, good to know. Baxapain says, but tongue piercing was totally a fidget relief thing. That's really interesting. Like I'm, as a very, like I only have 3, I have 3 piercings in me and that's it. I'm not gonna get any more of them. No, thank you. But it's interesting to have people's experience with it. So Alex says, my snake bites didn't mess my teeth up, but they were a bit rough on the gums, though I didn't have them more than a couple of years. Though a lip piercing will rub your gum down. That's why they were the first one. Oh, really? That's interesting. Seeing as how I think Otto had them, maybe, and Alex, but snake bites, they seem to be one of the piercing that will really often leave scars. Is that a thing? Like, because like you can, if you forget to put an earring in your ear for a couple of months and it closes down, it doesn't leave a mark or anything. So I'm curious about that. If you are ever going to go out of your way to get a piercing done properly, it should be your tongue piercing. Way too many things can go wrong with it. Oh, really? I am not I have 3 piercings, not because I chose to have 3. Because the first one, when I told my mom that I was like, hey mom, can I get my ears pierced? And she was like, okay. And I was like, yeah, let's go to like the shopping mall and get, you know, the Claire's person, like use the hair punch and punch my ears and that's done. And she was like, no, I will take care of it. And I was like, okay. And yeah, I had one piercing for a very long time, because after my mom manually pierced my ear with a disinfected sewing needle, I was like, you know what? No, thank you. Bye. And at some point I was like, I don't really enjoy having only one piercing, so when I was older I went with my grandma, I think, and I got to see the Claire's lady, and she punched the second and third piercings, and that was that. But yeah, I was like, no thank you, what's the freaking point? So Otto says, I have 3 on my bottom lip and 1 on my top. They do leave a little dot. You can see them in my videos where I show my face. Oh, that's really, really interesting. Oh no! Nicole says, guys, I just ran out to Lowe's to get more screws for the deck. I totally forgot a mask. Now I have to drive all the way home and all the way back. Oh no. You need to grab a few extra masks and leave them in the car. So if that happens again, you might not be stuck having to go back. I had about 35%. Oh wow, Otto. You don't want to have to go through a metal detector, I guess, at that point. Because, oh, hold on, I have the list of all my piercings. There you go. This is why I'm beeping. I was relatively heavy into body modification for that. Well, it's a trend that never really went away, actually. I wonder if it's gonna go back and forth, like a lot of people are super heavily tattooed now, which is perfectly fine, but I wonder if it's gonna, you know, slowly go back towards no tattoos, or, you know, in how in the 90s and 2000s, how the lower back tattoo was a thing. I have minor scarring, dots, no open holes in my face. It's pretty noticeable. Ears were pierced for years. Those I let close too, but just the back close. Oh, really? Huh. I actually never triggered a metal detector because of my piercings, even when I had all... Whoa, what? Also, the world's most pierced woman lives in Edinburgh. You can meet her on the Royal Mile most days. She's lovely. How many piercings does she have? Not all piercings can be taken out. I've forgotten what they're called. The single ones with the little plate under the skin. Yeah. The tramp stamp. I was trying to avoid saying that, I guess, but there. Yeah, that. I also found out recently what the whale tail actually was. Tramp stamp and whale tail are very very reminiscent of that time. My first tattoo was at 13. Oh, whoa, wow. Did you get it with the consent of your parents, or did you get it like clandestinely? No judgment on where you tattoo. No, definitely not, but like I sort of, it took me a really long time to find out that having a tattoo at the lower back was called that, and I was like, huh, well, okay then. But yeah, I mean, I don't personally like find it particularly trampy. Yeah, so I just, you know, I was like, well, it's a fun place to have a tattoo, and you can sort of get it's a sneak peek at it every once in a while. Especially back then, the fashion was all about low-waisted jeans. Like today with the mom jeans, I mean, having a tattoo there is pretty pointless. No one would see it. I'm like a very tame version of those trends. I have 2 small tattoos and 3 piercings. Ooh, ooh, oh no. I've always loved tattoos, but my mom's alopecia was triggered right around the time she dyed her hair. So I'm not taking... What do you mean? What's the correlation between the dyeing and the tattoos? So 90s, tramp stamp and whale tail with low-rise jeans. Low-rise jeans, that's the word. And platform shoes, oh yeah. Oh, tattoo on the ribs, oh no. Yes, I am painting with acrylic, matte acrylic that, you know, some people call acrylic gouache, but that no one in here enjoy the word, so. And I explained in the beginning of the stream that this is for a future video, but I kind of had to redo the material for the video like a bunch of times, so I kind of want to get this done, so that's why I'm working on it today. And no one complained, no one said, no, take out the watercolors. So yeah. I'm kind of afraid of needles. Oh yeah. Then none of that is for you then. Because a piercing is 1 needle 1 time, but a tattoo is so many holes in your skin. Oh, sorry. tramp stamps I'm fine with, but low-rise jeans can die. Can we get like normal waist-high jeans, please? Oh man, like mom jeans are terrible for short people because they're basically like under-boob jeans. It's like I got no torso. And I find myself funny. That's great. Good job. I really want an arm sleeve, but I'm also scared of getting... Yeah, that's the thing too. Though I think if that was to... Like, I'm all for getting more tattoos. It just hasn't really happened because of money and all of that, and the, you know, finding a place that has a style that I love. But I kind of want tattoos to perhaps be a more like... I've seen people treat their tattoos like a diary of their life, and I kind of like that. And one of my friends, when she went to Japan, she in advance booked herself a tattoo appointment. So that's kind of a really cool thing. Now she has this tattoo that she had in Japan, and it's with her always. So I kind of feel like if I eventually get to Scotland, like perhaps I should see if Otto and we want to get like a tattoo at the same time, just to sort of weave memories in the tattoos, if that makes sense. Okay, so Fairy Dust says exposure to permanent ink dyes anything close that the immune system freaks out over. It's not an established connection, but a working theory in research. Oh, interesting. Yeah, you don't want to get the tattoo then find out you're allergic to the ink. Oh, good grief. But can we also get jeans that don't create muffin tops? Can we get jeans in stretchy material? Like, not insanely stretchy, but just a bit for, like, when you wake up and you put your jeans in the morning, you're like, oh, they're comfy. And then at the end of the day, you're like, they're still comfy. Yay! On the boob jeans. Almost all the inks used except for black are not tested, so nobody really knows their effects. Oh, that's interesting. When we were teens, one sister got lips tattooed on her bum because kiss my ass. Mom almost died. So we go in the other room and drew mom in heart with a arrow on my other sister bum in Sharpie. Sorry. That's so funny. The fact that it's on the bum too kind of cracks me up. Or just longer tops. I'm quite tall, and with some shirts that... Yeah, I mean... there's just no leeway. Like, if you're super tall or super short, nothing fits right. It's a good thing I only get black ink tattoos done. Anyway, black ink tattoos, they turn out blue after a while, so... There's a great tattooist that... See, that would be awesome! I mean, it's something we would have to discuss more about, of course, but I think that's kind of the idea that I like. Or like you travel somewhere and you get a small tattoo while you're there, so it's part of the history that you lived. I'm all for pair tattoos that aren't obvious. Oh, it doesn't have to be the same tattoo. Like, it just has to be a tattoo that you get at the same time. Like, you can get completely different things tattooed, but you guys know that those tattoos were, like, happened at the same time in this situation. Yeah, not necessarily the, like, you know, oh, another 1990s things. You know, the best friend's heart necklace that you could split apart and, like, each best friend would have half of it. That was so cheesy. Oh, Best tattoo artists are the ones the bikers go to. That's a very fair point. Hey Dominic, hi! Yeah, if I had to get a tattoo, I'd consider it from Japan personally. Or wherever you want to travel to. Like, it's just interesting to have this. Jean onesies, yeah, that's almost a thing. I'm all prepared. Okay, so that. I hear tattoo artists in Japan need medical. Yeah, I think so. And I think their studio are really, really discreet. Like, you have to know they're there to know that there's a tattoo studio there. Hey, Patricia! I get minimally stretchy jeans at Mark's. Not sure if you have Mark's in Quebec, but check them out online. Will do. Though, to be honest, these days I'm living the sweatpants and leggings life like nobody's business. I know many people are like, ooh, leggings for pants, and I'm like, what? Leggings for pants are the best. I mean, not to show your ass, like put on a tunic or something, or a really long like hoodie or whatnot, but dude, the comfort. Hey Barbara, hi! Yeah, we're talking about piercings and tattoos and trends of the 90s. I am a tattoo artist. Oh, nice! Insider information. I'm like painting super slow. That's okay, we're having a good time, right? This is fun. I just want pockets that hold anything like my phone, or just pockets in skirts. Oh yeah. I mean, some skirts are dresses, like the pencil skirts or whatnot. There's not really any room for pockets in there, but anything that's more flowy has no excuses. Not that I enjoy dresses or anything, but I mean, pockets in anything. Pockets in jeans, for Pete's sakes. One of my tattoos is one of those things that I kind of like, but it shouldn't be like that. The artist dug so deep. Oh, yikes. Ow. I don't know why, but picturing someone that digs in a tattoo, I'm like, oh, why? Why? The pain. Oh, good. I have 2 really small tattoos. There's one I would consider getting covered because it's nothing like outrageous, but it's just kind of like a bit silly and did not age all that well. But the other one I'm still happy with. I really need to get a Mogwai tattoo at some point. I feel like I am not reflecting my love for this band unless it's written literally on my body. Otto says, I got super lucky. I got a tattoo in Las Vegas in a tattoo shop in a hotel at 3 a.m. The tattooist turned out brilliant and I love my tattoo, but geez, don't do that, people. Don't do that. Well, do it if you are sober and can actually see the work the tattoo artist does. Because why not? But yeah, if you are kind of not in full possession of your means, that's kind of a trickier situation. I need to get a Mogwai tattoo in Glasgow. Yeah, that's a very valid point. That would be like the most fancore thing I could do. Did you have a pregnant wife who rang their partner up at 3 a.m. to beg for a McDonald's? Oh man, these are great stories. I'm in Vegas too. Oh, interesting. Do you have your own studio space, Barbara? How did you set it up? Alex says, also, if you're a teenager and another teenager offers to do any form of body modification, they're probably not qualified and maybe you should reconsider. Maybe? Divine intervention. Any decent tattooist won't tattoo you if you're drunk. Not just for making ridiculous mistakes, but thins the blood and you bleed more. Yeah. And it might be a bit trickier to get you to sit still. Like I don't think drunk people are really good at processing, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like conditions or something. Like, not demands, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I wanted to make tattoos in my wrists. Oh, that sounds like a painful place to get a tattoo. And I mean, the skin there is really thin. Oh, sorry. Time for me to go. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for being here, Patricia. I hope you have a great weekend, and dude, good luck with the weather, because it's gonna be super warm this weekend, sadly. Hey, I did dang good work for a teenager in a basement. That doesn't mean it was ever good. What would you do piercings, tattoos? How would you set it up, Alex? That sounds like kind of complex. I have a tattoo shop in the ground level of the building. Really, Paulo? Whoa. That's so cool. Well, I mean, you're not interested in it, so might not be for you, but oh man, a Mogwai tattoo in Glasgow. I'm gonna dream of it. Though I keep having really crummy dreams, so if I can dream of that kind of stuff, I would be relieved. Like, enough with the crap dream, come on. Barbara says, it always seems to be the tiny scrawny girls who are troopers and sit forever, but the giant muscly firemen who cry. Aww. Yeah, I don't know. Pain is a monthly reoccurring thing for us, so perhaps it does set us up for sitting in pain for a while. I did tattoos and piercing, all very simple stuff. Often in exchange for a pack of cigarettes. None of it very bright. I have considered getting logic in Vulcan. Like Star Trek? Wait, hold on. Oh, that's a good one. We're just off the strip down by the Hard Rock Hotel. Honestly, you should always visit local shops rather than the casinos. They're extremely overpriced. Oh, that's interesting. The number of patches. Yeah, that's one of like, I got my very first tattoo in that same period of time where that we were discussing earlier with the low-rise jeans, and if you remember right, it was the time where the shirts with the flames on them were trendy, or the shirts with the super bad anime art on them too. So one of my tattoo is a Chinese symbol, because like, I went to the tattoo place and picked it on the spot, and It's not bad, it's not badly made, it's not big, it's not anything, but yeah, I'm fully aware of the fact that it might say like beef, and I don't know it, you know. But that's what I mean by did not age all that well. I think all Chinese tattoos, yeah, spring rolls, that would definitely, yeah, like you just hope it doesn't say anything rude, basically. Yeah, I would get that one covered, definitely. Also, it's old by now, it's like 20 years old, so it's super blurry. Nothing says good times like having grapefruit tattooed on moon runes. Everything's so blurry, everyone's so fake. I do know someone who I think wanted eternity, but whatever they wanted, they got grapefruit. Oh no. Duck poop as the name of your dojo. Someone out there is having a party over these. They're making bank and they're like, ah ha ha. Those darn gaijins think they know what's written in there. I think we broke Paulo. Tattoos tend to bring out the best stories. I have infinite respect for tattoo artists, because not only do you have to think of the art itself, but then you have to write it down with a needle and ink into someone's skin. Like that's another level of you know, difficulty there. Oh yeah, that's right. I have another color for these. What do you do, Otto? Like if someone says, "Oh, you're Japanese. I have a tattoo in Japanese. Let me show you," and it doesn't actually say what the person think it says. Do you tell them? It's a bit like if someone was to show me something in French and there's a typo in there, and I'm like, there's a typo in there. Like, do I tell them? If it's blurry and spreads, it's not the kanji. Your tattoo is too deep, and don't smack them after you get them. Oh, I think one I have might be like that, but it's the one I want to have covered. So I think people smack their tattoos because it itches. And you're not supposed to scratch a tattoo, so I think people like smack them to get the itch out. You have no stop point, you're not drawing on paper, you have to learn to feel how deep you are in the skin. That sounds terrifying. It sounds like too much of a responsibility. No thanks, I'm out, bye! Okay, hold on. Lotta says, I used to literally die and make this weird smile, then walk backwards very slowly. That's a bit like how to escape a T-Rex. Like, you don't want to move too much. You want to keep it so they don't see you. Even if I know it's not real, the thing about the T-Rex not seeing you if you're still, but it's funny. I would never presume to be correct and all-knowing in all things Japanese, so I wouldn't tell them straight away. I'd always check when I got home. Oh, you're too nice. Oh, so Barbara says, you can do it afterwards if it itches, but directly afterward, don't do the smacking thing. Setting the ink is not a thing. Drives me nuts. It sounds like a thing you get when you don't work into skin. Like say you are filling pans and you want the paint to settle, you smack the pan, but I don't think it works with skin. The stretch. My sister's smiley face on him became a stern, resting. Oh no. Hey Sally, hi. And PSA, you can absolutely lose a belly button ring from weight gain. Whoa. Like it pushes out the ring? Dude, we have a great topic today. I'm forgetting I need to paint. I'm laughing too much. Like, can we just say motherhood sounds terrifying on so many levels? Like, oh, hey, some parts of you will stretch and never recover from it. And you're like, wait, what? Also, yeah, your abs, they're gonna be, like, separated now. You're like, wait, what? Oh, and, this other thing that you didn't know about, and I feel like it's always this unending stream of terrifying things. And I'm like, nope, not interested. Collective moments. Oh. Is it Homer Simpson backing away into the... It absolutely pushes out the ring. Oh, wow, that's interesting. You forget about scars and things like a tramp stamp until you go... Sorry. And have no fear to ask what's up. Ah, kids. You know where you stand with kids. They will definitely tell you. I got it right. It's a very fitting gif. If your body mod tattoo artist says don't go swimming, please don't. Oh, that's a good one, right? You gotta love people who can't take like specific, like it's for your own good, it's not for anyone else's. If you go swim with a fresh tattoo, it's not gonna end well. Ugh, I can imagine all the germs getting in there. Blah. So listen of the day, do everything your body mod artists tell you to do. Do none of the things they tell you not to do. And also don't do the crap you read on the internet, definitely. Never do the crap you read on the internet. You get a friend to do it first. Oh wait, that sounds terrible. Hold on, Barbara says, okay, this woman came in, diabetes and lupus. We had her bring in a doctor's note, tattoo her, go over healing instructions. Farida says, yeah, my friend had a baby 9 months ago and now her body is interesting. She can't find shoes that fit because her feet are so much wider now. Like, what? Yeah. Like, it's all stuff you wouldn't expect. Like feet getting wider, or you know, like oh, you might get diabetes while you're pregnant. You're like, what? Jeez. Oh, okay, so Barbara says the follow-up of the story, go over healing instructions, pay attention to your healing instructions. So we assume you've common sense, we hope. So she comes back 5 days later and her tattoo is absolutely horrifying. She's trying to insist she didn't do anything weird, but keeps giving her husband the side eye. And I keep saying, and? Oh no, that's gonna hurt. It looked like her tattoo was covered in oatmeal. Ugh. Swollen red, just blech. Definitely blech. Like a lot, all the blech. All the possible blech available. Dude, oatmeal. That's not a good, nope. Can we just, nope. Ah, oh, ew. Ugh. Deeply troubling stuff. She let her dog lick it. Are you kidding me? Dude, pets' mouths have so many germs in it. A cat, dog, whatever, name it. It's not clean. No. Lady, why are you done? She let the dog lick. Ugh, I'm gonna die. Everybody in the chat is short-circuiting from the sheer horror of letting the dog lick a fresh tattoo. Like, you can get a really bad infection from a cat biting you. And not because it's an actual bite, just because it gets the mouth bacteria in the bloodstream. So I guess licking a tattoo is basically the same, because your pet is licking an open wound on your skin. Why? I did shout why. the pain, the suffering. Dude, you've broken Otto. Otto has 404'd. I don't know why people assume that I've seen so many people be like, ew, cats are gross, and I'm like, dude, do you think dogs are any better? Like, both lick their bum. Hello. People are so dumb, so dumb. On kitties, we're about 28 days or so away from my baby's round. Oh, that's awesome! Yay! Enrolled soon. Oh, thank you so much for being here, Okuni. I hope you have a great weekend, and say hi to the Marmalade Boys for us. Made me think of the chubby emu video. A man was licked by his dog. This is how his organ shut down. That's definitely worthy of a chubby emu video. Gosh. What was her... did she give any reason why she let the dog lick her tattoo? Like, what was the whole... Oh yeah, the videos are amazing. You have to really pay attention though, because Chubby Emu is a doctor, so when he explains something that relates to like various chemical things happening in cells and blood, and it's like, if you look away for a second, you're lost, but it's super interesting. I can't believe how many people think it's just a decorative thing, not realizing it's an open wound. I always make sure I yell open wound with my healing instruction. Dude, I mean, it's bleeding, it hurts, and someone took a needle to your skin, but no, it's not an open wound. I mean, what? I can't. I cannot. Oh, the dog, I mean, ugh. I love the nerve of these people too, like coming back and being like, oh, I did nothing wrong. And you're like, no, definitely you did something wrong, because I know what I'm doing. Like, I wouldn't have done anything to let that happen. Her genius husband mentioned healing enzymes in dog saliva, disregarding the fact dogs lick their rear ends, etc. Oh, wait. Pause. Okay, so Nicole says, Nicole, your mom is a hairstylist, right? If I remember right. So Nicole says, my mom dyed this woman's hair and she insisted on leaving with the dye on her head. 2 weeks later, and her hair was a sickly greenish blackish gross color, and she had burn marks on her scalp. She hasn't washed her hair in 2 weeks. So she had the dye on her hair for 2 weeks. Barbara says, people think it turns root beer colored because that's what color it is. It's bleeding, bruh. I had to argue with a guy that the purple ink was purple. I wanted to eat my own face. Help! People are stupid. I mean, on a much lesser level, whenever I work, I had a part-time job when I was still in school, and it was in a small photo lab. And we would do like passport photos and that kind of stuff. And I swear to gosh, the number of time people would come back and be like, oh, you gave me the wrong sized photo. And I was like, dude, you asked for the wrong size photo. I'm not gonna make you another one for free. If you come in and tell me what size photo you need, we're not gonna get you something else. If you come in and you say the wrong size because you're hoping to save $1 and it's not the proper size, that's on you, bro. Like, if you go to a tattoo artist that is like legit, you cannot blame them for whatever stupid thing you did afterwards. I mean, come on, the nerve of people. Like, what was she expecting, this diabetes lady? Not that there's anything wrong with diabetes, I just don't know how else to refer to her. Like, it's so absurd. Congratulations, you got a skin infection. Now you get to go to the hospital to get it sorted out. Good job. Humans, why? Bye hair. In fact, her hair died. That's a good point, Paulo. Oh, can you imagine trying to rinse that out? Good gosh. I'm shocked. I think I would have been less shocked if it had been some sort of like major thing that they did, like I don't know. Because I'm like, have you seen your dog do its dog things? Why would you even believe your husband were that kind of a stupid thing? Right. This happened when I was in middle school. She insisted that my mother fix it, and there was nothing my mom can do. Definitely. I mean, it's burned. You can just wait until it grows back, and perhaps it's not gonna be permanently messed up. Dude, people are stupid. It's such a Karen mentality. Like, actions have no repercussions or consequences, and you absolutely owe me the perfect outcome, regardless of my own stupidity. I've left like Manic Panic in for a couple of hours, but regular hair dye will F you up. Especially for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! That's like a lot of days of having this chemical frying your hair like permanently. It's the willful ignorance that kills me. This absolutely insane thing going on where people are super proud to have never read a book. The horror. Yeah, that's... I've never read a book. I'm like, how is that a good thing? No, get here. Crumb. Ah, yes, got it. So I saw, that's absolutely unrelated to anything, but it just popped into my brain. I've mentioned the fact that we order our grocery from a kind of a farmer's market type of thing, and they almost exclusively sell local everything, like cheese, meat, and dairy, and all of that. And I saw that they have, at the moment, they offer blueberry tortilla chips. And I was like, wait, what? And I'm so trying these. No idea if they'll be good, but... like, blueberries are in season, so they probably made blueberry tortillas and consequently blueberry tortilla chips. And I'm like, that sounds amazing. Hey Lena, hi! Oh, Jet update. She finally started digging and chewing again. I think she's starting to get used to living on her own. Perhaps she was meant to be a big angy introvert too. Perhaps that's a thing, you know. Yeah, today I'm painting with gouache of the acrylic persuasion. Yeah, blueberries. So I mean, they also have blueberry sausages on the site, and it's not the first time I see it. We have blueberries and like strawberries and raspberries in season in Quebec, and I've seen it quite often to have strawberry sausages, blueberry sausages. They're not bad, you know. They're not too different from having apples in a sausage, you know, or like something that has orange sauce. So it's not. It sounds weird, but it's really not that weird. But yeah, the blueberry. I feel like the blueberry and corn tortilla chips are gonna be more like a dessert thing, not something you would necessarily eat with salsa or like guacamole or whatnot, but why not? Sounds interesting, right? I love blueberries, I love corn tortillas. I don't think I can go wrong with this. Update next week. I'm really enjoying the nice veggies. I had the first ear of corns last week, and then there's always like fresh bell peppers and zucchini and cucumbers and carrots from the field that have the dirt on them still. Doesn't taste the same as regular carrots for sure. I'm not big on salad, but yeah, they always try to get me to buy like salads and like germinated stuff, and I'm like, nope. No thank you, that's bunny food. Blue corn is amazing. Blue potatoes as well. My blueberry bush is giving me about 4 blueberries every day. Aw. Yummy. What about beetroot and purple cabbage? Blech. Dude, beetroot is like a spoonful of dirt. Oh no, we have a beetroot aficionado in the chat. No! I don't hate you, I'm just gonna give you all of my beetroots. I've really tried to give them a chance, but I think they make me unwell too, so I'm like, you know what? I got it. Message received, beetroots. I'm just not gonna eat you anymore. I love how making a smoothie with blueberries in it kind of looks like a glass of petrol. It gets so dark. I hate beetroot. It feels like eating something bloody. It's so staining. It really is, right? It has the color, the staining power, and the taste. Though to me, they really taste more like a handful of dirt. And I've always been so, like, there's a local assortment, like a meal that you will get where you have a meat pie, potatoes, maybe some sort of veggie depending, and they would often serve it with pickled beetroot, and I always thought it was the most gross thing ever. Could never do it. Peaches. Oh yeah, I'm excited for peaches. Yum 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 yum. I tried eating beetroots pan fried because when you sort of fry them up a bit, they get more sweet and less kind of what's the word for it? Less earthy. But I think my body don't process them well. Sweet potatoes are the orange sweet potatoes are a bit weird, but the Okinawan purple sweet potatoes are amazing. Oh, these are great. They have more of a potato texture, but they're sweet. While the orange sweet potatoes, they kind of feel like a mix of texture between a potato and like a parsnip. Wait, what? Never seen corn or potatoes growing, but what? What? Corn? Dude, cornfields here are so ubiquitous. Well, you can have the beets, I'll take the turnips. Deal. You eat sweet potatoes raw? How do you prepare them, Susan? I've never heard of that. Otto says, I made up a great Mexican style soup this week. Butter beans, sweet corn, sweet potatoes cubed, taco seasoning, smoky hot sauce, and chopped up cured meat. That sounds amazing. Oh, I wish I had Okinawan purple sweet potatoes though. Darn it. We need to grow this stuff here. Like, enough with the less beets, more potatoes. Sorry. We always end up talking about food. We went from tattoos to food. That's just the way we roll. I think we're all getting hungry. I had bagels for lunch. That was great. I gave Otto a great big topo about bagels this morning. And then I ate some for lunch. And they were good. The end. That's a good story, right? Mushroom tastes of earth, not in the same way that beets taste like mud. Like, you know, when you didn't rinse properly your carrot and you take a bite in it and all you taste is the mud. That's the taste of beet. Mexican dried hot pepper. Well, you could add fresh pepper like jalapeno or something. Oh, chipotle. You can buy chipotle with ancho sauce in a can. It's just so spicy. Like, I bought the can once and I used like such a tiny percentage of it because we don't eat that spicy. You need to try the Okinawan purple potato. I can't eat ice cream. Do they make it vegan? If they make it with like soy milk or coconut milk, you can drive down to Maine for potatoes, or you can stay in Quebec. Has a lot of potatoes. We just need to start having the Okinawan purple potatoes because they're so delicious. Paulo says, why would someone ruin ice cream with potato? Says the guy who has sardine ice cream. Thank you for educating me on your deep love of bagels. Oh man, but bagels are so good. I always get deeply offended when I see the bread bagels like you get in the grocery stores, the thing that are like bread in a donut shape and pre-sliced. I'm like, blasphemy. This is not what bagels are about. I haven't checked my bagel knowledge in a while, but there's really something peculiar with the way it's prepared, and I think they kind of boil them a bit first before cooking them in a wood fire oven, and that's what really makes the difference. Anything that is wood fire oven cooked, like even pizza, the best dough you can get for pizza is one that has been cooked in a real oven. That's like that's why I whenever we get to the one pizza restaurant that I like, because they have a wood oven, I always order like basically what ends up being just the dough with tomato sauce on it, and they kind of look at me wrong, and I'm like, dude, it's like delicious oven baked bread with tomato sauce. How can you go wrong with that? You can't, unless the dude had parmesan to it, but you know, another story. So yeah, bagels are great. Chipotle chilies. Smoked paprika is quite nice too. Yeah, we're all gonna go like get a snack by the end of this. We could start a campaign, single flavor ice cream. Like single thing. I just want more vegan ice cream, please. I'm always so bummed out whenever I get to the vegan ice cream corner and all they have left is like vanilla and lemon, which, you know, might be good, but they're just not for me. I'm like, Did you know that Tabasco now comes in chipotle? I didn't know. Yummy. I just had some blueberry lemon soft serve ice cream. Oh man, that sounds great. They also have a habanero one, which is very good. We are wuss in this house about spiciness. We bought the salsa long ago. That was the medium one, and we were like, "Oh, this is spicy." So now we buy the very mild one. Yeah, I guess what I wanted to sort of lead through to speaking of the blueberry tortilla was that since it's so hot lately, we've been having this sort of meal a lot, which is super low effort and not warm at all, but it's basically just good tortilla chips with good salsa, and that's it. Everything is either room temp or cold, and you don't have to cook anything, you don't have to heat up the place for any reason, and we both enjoy it, so cheat meal in a way. It's more like a hack meal, like a hot summer hack meal. Hey Melissa, hi. What? Oh no, Bucks of Paint. Bucks of Paint says my British family are the worst with spice. I make sour cream chicken enchiladas. The sauce was made from sour cream and chicken stock, and they all coughed and hacked like I'd put in ghost peppers. But there's not even a hint of spiciness in that. Sour cream is not spicy, and chicken stock, unless you make it spicy, is not spicy. Farida says, I think professionals sometimes use a lye solution at some point too, about bagels. Bagels are fascinating and weird, and I haven't found a good one in Stockholm yet. Oh no, I'm so sorry for you. Yeah, I think lye is caustic. So it promotes the Maillard reaction. I want to hear it. There I said it, Maillard. Probably heard as Maillard often, but it's Maillard. There was not even black pepper for seasoning. Oh, that's sad. I'm so sorry for you. I have to deal with that. It's so... I had stopped, like... Sometimes I would try to not necessarily get them to try it, but I'm always like excited when I find something new food-wise, and I'm like, oh, look at this new thing, it's quite tasty, and like my family is always not very receptive of them. They would always be like, okay, but it's not meat. And I'm like, no, it's not meat, but it tastes fine anyway. Like, yeah, okay, well, you can take that, and we're gonna buy our meat thing over there. And I'm like, the whole point was to maybe get to try something new, but I ended up learning that you don't teach new things to those people. Those, at least, well, my family, you cannot really get them to. I got my dad to try sushi once, which I thought was quite a success, though he ended up eating it with a fork, because, I mean, you cannot ask someone to try a new food and use a utensil they've never used before at the same time. That was kind of harsh. So I was like, okay, fine, use your fork. He tried to bite the sushi in half, and I was like, nope, you cannot really do that. The nori will stop you from doing that. Maya. I kind of want more bagels now. Bagels. Oh, sushi, I'm craving sushi. I haven't had any for months. Why not? Can you get it either delivered or takeout or something? Or you can make it too. Oh, I meant to update also about a bit about Peko. Peko was not feeling her best last week, but she seems to be doing a lot better now, so that's a relief. I'm thinking maybe she has some sort of inflammatory bowel issue occasionally, or colitis. So we had to deal with that a bit last week, but she's better now. Restaurants are closed. There's only one place nearby that makes it, and they were closed. Oh, I'm sorry. What a bummer. Yeah, Pickle is basically back to her good old self. But she gave us kind of a bit of worry and stress. Because, I mean, you never really want your pets to be unwell, even if it's something that's gonna, be over on its own. It was not the first time that she had something similar, so we know that last time we went to the vet about it, and all it did was cost us a lot of money and stress her out. So this time we were like, you know what, we're gonna wait it out just a bit. That was a cat. I wonder if that was Peko. I'll go check it out momentarily. But yeah, she's back to her good spirited self now, so we're happy. But yeah, she has some sort of like Scout's issues are allergies and like stomach related, and Pico's issues are more like bowel related. So either way, we have to clean up some messes every once in a while. Okay, I'll go see who was scratching at the door. But first off, let's try and make this cat safe. Unless you guys don't want to see Peko, but I kind of feel like you will want to see her, so let me check it out. C'est toi qui veux rentrer? Brourou! Salut Peko! Salut Peko! On parlait de toi? Mais oui! Tu veux venir voir? Non mais attends, viens ici à la place. Tadee! Peko the raccoon! Salut! Hello Peko! Hello! She's all better now. Où tu vas? Où tu vas? Qu'est-ce que t'as trouvé? Cannot drink the paint water. Don't drink the paint water. Boop. Only if she feels up to being moved to wherever she... Yeah, she wanted to come in. She was the one clawing at the door. You pushed down all the bottles of paint, Peko. She's happy. T'entends? Oui, Pro-Pro. Viens, Pro-Pro, est par là. Viens, Pro-Pro, est par ici. Ici, ici. Were you missing your friends? You were missing your friends, right? She wanted to say hi. She's doing better. So yeah, I was checking out her symptoms because she didn't have many. She had one main symptoms, and in most cases of that happening just as it was, they were saying it was stuff like I said, like inflammatory bowel disease or colitis. And one of the suggestions was to give her more fiber. So we went out and we bought pure pumpkin, and we gave her pure pumpkin, and I think it has helped. Maybe. Tellement cute. I think she's glad she didn't have to go to the vet. She hates going to the vet, poor baby. And I mean, the vets are not particularly helpful unless the cat has like a fever or something. And she was not having any fever. You're shedding so much. We keep on brushing the cats and they keep on shedding. No, don't. No, that's paint water. That's gross. Okay, I'm gonna rub your face. Oh, definitely. Buxapane says, I'm glad she's feeling better. Of the many times you want your fur baby to speak when they don't feel good, it is when it would be most handy. I completely agree. You're like, are you in pain? What's the level of your discomfort? Doesn't the vet have awesome treats for Pecco? No, we don't. Well, first of all, they have the treats are mostly for the vets if you look at the bill. But we try not to give them too many different food because it usually causes more issues with their digestion than it helps. We know that pumpkin is safe because we've given it to them before, and like Scout will go absolutely bonkers for a pumpkin. It's her most favorite thing. Whenever we give her a bit of pumpkin with her meal, she goes for the pumpkin first, and before she's even finished her meal, she will try to eat Pecco's pumpkin. Like pure pumpkin, I don't know why, but Scout lives for it. Mais t'es bien cute. Et mon petit chat? Ouais, pro. Has anybody seen the videos where people are teaching cats to speak through some buttons which all say certain words? Like a cat can press stuff like want, outside, catnip, food, etc. That's interesting. I wonder if they learn through just like the force of a habit, or if they actually understand. Like it's very easy to anthropomorphize pet behaviors, but yeah, oftentimes it's just that they're super good at associating things. Like if this happens, then this is gonna happen. Mais t'es belle! You're so pretty! You're so pretty! Oh, t'es bien belle, ma Pecco. She has a a few scratches on her hair too. We'll have to look at that. Although it doesn't really need a button for that. He just stands with his ball and meows like the world is gonna end. Yeah, that's... So, Lucine says, apparently they understand what they're pressing. I don't know if they know what the words mean, but they definitely know that pressing want food means they want food. Yeah, I just wonder if they just like, they yeah, that was your mandatory face rub on the camera. Cute, Pico. Tout le monde a vu ta bouche là. Toutes tes dents, toutes tes pic-pic. Non, pas l'autre peinture quand même, c'est dégueu. Tu veux tirer la fenêtre? Qu'est-ce que tu voulais faire? Apex. But yeah, it's like, I think they associate the sounds with what happens, but they don't understand necessarily what's going on. Like, if you were to say food in a different context, perhaps they would not connect it with what it means. But I mean, I'm not entirely done, but I will be doing a full like video review on these paints, and I think they're really quite nice. They're perfectly serviceable, and you can paint with them. They layer well. They're easy to use. The opacity is nice. Like, the titanium white is pretty good. And the fact that they're only $2 or less per bottle is really, really friendly. Like, if someone wants to test out acrylic and or matte acrylic, it shouldn't be disregarded just because it's craft paints. T'es tellement cute. T'es tellement cute. So yeah, I would not dismiss them. And I don't see why they should be dismissed. I mean, it's not... Oh, c'est fini? C'est bon? Bye, Pico. Wow, le poil. So much fur. Tu veux-tu sortir? Tu veux-tu sortir? Si tu veux. Tu veux par là? Bye, Pico. Hey, Lise, hi. Okay, let's remove a bit of the fur. So much fur. So yeah, this one was really messed up, and I'm kind of able to fix it progressively by just layering more paint on it, and it layers really well. Like, it's not blotchy, it's not streaky, it's nicely opaque, depending on the color, of course, but like, this is interesting. And the other one that I did that's more finished, I mean, it did work mostly well, and like, that's something that I can scan and you know, work with. Like, I don't think it's paint that if you want to sell art pieces in a gallery, I don't think that's the possibly most light fast paint, because they don't disclose pigment information as far as I know. Like, this one is named titanium white, but I wouldn't be surprised if it actually had titanium pigment in it, because it's super cheap. But a color like this pink, to be this vivid, probably has some sort of dye in it. So it might change color a bit if it's exposed to light, but if it's for something that you're gonna, you know, scan and turn into a print or merch, it's nice, because you can definitely update your collection, and it doesn't cost you a lot. If you want to do a bunch of paintings with specific colors, you might get them for under $10. So I think that's quite nice. I'm a bit sad that I was unable to get my gouache paints from Etsy. At least I got a refund. What was the what was it, a specific brand of paint? I haven't heard about a lot of gouache sellers on Etsy. I think dogs understand commands more because their whole behavior are based on like the relationship between them and other dogs or other humans. But cats are kind of more independent, so language is something that the cats develop just to communicate with humans. Like cats between themselves, they don't meow. they don't do that. So there's a bit of a, I mean, it's all interesting, of course, but I'm fairly sure that the cats do recognize the intonations and how deep, how high is the sound, but not necessarily what the word means. Like when you get a dog to sit, to roll over, to give the paw and all of that, I don't think that might register as easily for cats. They might react more to a gesture. Like if they see you put your hands in front of their paw, they understand that it means put the paw in the hand and then you get a treat. If that makes sense. Also, just before I finish, well, there's a bit of time. I don't know if you guys want me to keep rambling, or I could keep on working on this, I guess. But I did those paintings from sketches that I had made. They're not super clean sketches, but I was still wondering whether when I do the review video, do you think it would be interesting to have access to those sketches to print yourself and to like transfer, like use the light table to transfer to play with the paints too, or not really? It was some Winsor Newton set. It was from an art company that advertises on Etsy, so it seems, but I'm not sure if they're legit after looking at other reviews. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Sometimes on Etsy you can find people who try to make a quick buck before they get taken down or get all the bad reviews, and then their shops disappear and you're like, I've seen it happen for clothes. Oh yeah, I can show the type of paints again. It's the Deco Art Americana range. They have many different ranges, but this one is sort of the opaque acrylic paint that is also matte. I can find them. They're made in the US, so they should be not too hard to find if you're in the US and or Canada. Yeah, and they come in so many colors, and they're this is my swatches for the colors that I was sent, and yeah, I mean, I've swatched other brands like Holbein's acrylic gouache, and you get the same kind of range of opacity. I mean, it's of course a color that has white in it a bit, like these will be more opaque, and a color that doesn't will be more transparent. That's just the basic common sense of it. So, like, they don't look any worse off than other matte acrylics I've tried. Cats do grasp terms and phrases. Really? The thing is, the dog does an action to make you happy, but the cat does an action to make the cat happy. Yeah. That's a very good point. There might be a part of it where the cats understand everything. They just decide to do nothing. That's very probable. Baba knows to sit, jump, shake, lay down, no outside, get down. Whoa. Yes, I see that paint. Yeah, same. I had seen it a lot, but I never gave it a second thought because I hadn't connected the fact that these were actually matte. Because I'm not a big fan of the sort of shiny acrylics. But acrylic paints are fun. The fact that they are permanent when they dry is something that is very different from watercolor, and that is kind of fun to experiment with. But It's not something that you like. I wouldn't have expected some affordable craft paint to have that feature, because the matte paints we see are always so fancy. It's like the acrylic gouaches that are made by fancy brands and are sold for a lot of money. Even Liquitex's acrylic gouache is kind of pricey. But these, they're not pricey at all. They're super affordable. Kit Kat doesn't understand anything but bad cake. Pico, I think she understands a lot of the words we use. She just doesn't care. Like Scout, she understands and she sort of reacts to it. The one we use the most often is no, with the big low voice, you know. And you can see Scout will often like crouch a bit and try to sneak in as much more of the bad behavior she can before we get to her. Well, Pico, she just won't care. She'll keep doing it until we get close enough, and then she'll just scamper off and be like, boo, 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 like I didn't do anything. And you're like, yeah, you're way too cute. I cannot stay mad at you. But also, you shouldn't be on there when it's hot. When you pay for expensive acrylic, you pay for a thick body paint, so you are mainly buying it because you want the texture and the art. But I mean, the Liquitex acrylic gouache was kind of pricey, like $10 a bottle, and it's not. It's quite thin. It's quite liquid. So I don't really get it on a certain level. I'm like, why? It's a bit of this idea of, if the inexpensive, affordable thing does the work, why get the more expensive stuff? You know? Like, if you want to try something new and you don't want to invest a lot of money in it necessarily, it's always great to have that option. And also, these being craft paints, like if you need to, let's say you end up with something that has a chip on it and needs a touch up of white, well, you can use these for that too. Yeah, it is a great substitute for acrylic gouache. I'm quite happy with it. I don't know how to use it, so if anything looks a bit weird, it's because I'm figuring out how to use acrylics as I go. But no, there's not a difference between matte acrylic and acrylic gouache. It's the same thing. Don't get me started on that. I will die on this battlefield. It's the exact same thing. The thing is you don't get that many matte acrylic. You get matte medium, but most acrylic will have a satiny or a shiny finish. And then you get the matte medium, and then you get the acrylic gouache, which is called acrylic gouache because, like gouache, it is matte, but it's made with a polymer as a binder, so it is acrylic, just matte. I will die on this battlefield, I swear. I just hate that they called it acrylic gouache, because it's not instinctive. Like you read acrylic gouache and you think the paint is gonna be something else, and it actually is. And I've heard about quite a few people who were like, oh yeah, this is acrylic gouache, let me set up a palette with blobs of paint and I'm gonna let it dry and then I'm gonna be good to go. And then the paint dries and it dries into plastic blobs and it's completely unusable, and then they're like, oh, okay, so this is something different. They're exactly the same thing. thickness might vary, but it's never anything on the scope of heavy body acrylics versus liquid acrylics. Like, it's mostly the same consistency for most of the time, and often the colors that have more opaque pigments in them will be a tiny bit more stiff, but that's it. Yeah, Fairy Dust and I were ready for battle. Stupid. I had to edit the page on Wikipedia that had a blurb about acrylic gouache, because they were saying and quoting from a book, and I'm like, it's definitely not because it's a book that it's true, but they were saying like that. Sorry, I need water. Hold on. Okay, so what I had to sort of edit out, because I was like, this is not true. They were saying that acrylic gouache has been formulated differently to be matte, which, fine, that's true. But that it has also been formulated to give you a longer working period to work with the paint on whatever thing you're painting on. And I'm like, nope. This dries just as fast as acrylic. And that's it. So I had to remove that because I was like, I'm so triggered by this lie. Does Peko think she's Alpha Kitty? No, she doesn't. She always gets her ass ended to her by Scout. She has a zero tolerance policy for Scout. It's really funny at times because Scout will just walk by Peko, and Peko will be angry instantly, and she will try to bite Scout on the top of her head, like, yep. And it just doesn't do anything because you can't really bite someone on the flat of the head, you know. And Melissa says the difference is that they give you a tiny amount with a different name for a huge price. Yeah, which is why I was super interested into making a video about these. Because I kind of hate the fact that acrylic gouache is so kind of prohibitive. While if I could have played with acrylic gouache earlier, I would have had such a greater time with it. Because I don't like regular acrylics, but acrylic gouache is really fun to use. So yeah, I'm rambling basically, but you're used to that. You know that. I always ramble. Burp. I've also heard people say, oh, but acrylic gouache, you can re-wet it. No, you can't. Have you tried it? I mean, the moment you play with it. Gouache is made with coarser pigment, and I don't know. No, it's gouache is made with fine pigment. It's made with more pigment. But it's really fine pigment because you have to be able to lay gouache and not have any granulation in it. So it's super duper fine pigment. Yeah, grrr. I wrote an Etcher article about gouache versus watercolor, and I think it should be up soon-ish. Because that's something that I really want to push forward so people are not as confused between these things as I was in the beginning. Because it's definitely not the same thing. It is a bad name. What about the Golden Open Acrylics line? Do they have a similar slower dry gouache? No, I think the Open Acrylics are the regular acrylics, so they have this shiny finish, like the I call it satiny because it's not like super high sheen, but it is kind of there still. I don't know if you use the open and you add some matte medium in it, how it will end out, but the thing is if you add matte medium to a paint, you will make it more transparent because the matte medium is more on the transparent side. So if you want something that has opacity and matte and long working time period, I really have no idea what you can use. I'm sorry. Perhaps, yeah, any kind of medium you use will make the color less opaque. I mean, compared to watercolor, gouache will have bigger particle size. No, it doesn't. It's the same pigment. It's the exact same pigment. If you make a wash with gouache, you will not see pigments. It will be completely smooth. It has finer pigments, if anything. Because with watercolor, sometimes you want those bigger particles to have granulation, which is not something you want into gouache. Even with matte medium, golden open doesn't look dry gouache at all. Oh really? You've tried it, Lise? I always thought they would just add opaque white. No, not necessarily. For gouache, they add they add opaque white for all the pastel colors. You know, the pastel colors. I said the word that I hate. All those tints. That's the word I was looking for. A tint is any color with white. So when you have a tint in acrylic and in gouache, and in matte gouache and matte acrylic and all of that, it's basically just adding white to a color. But if you have a pigment that you want to be intense, like a quinacridone red, you don't want to have this be pink. You want this to stay red. So with gouache, what they often do is they will add more pigment in it, or they might add some sort of inert filler, which is often kaolin clay, and they often use lithopone too, which is PW5. It's a white pigment, but it's more on the transparent side. But yeah, if you try like quinacridone red gouache, it's not gonna be all that opaque because the pigment itself is transparent. So no matter how much of the pigment you put on, it's still gonna be transparent. And with gouache, they tend to add a lot more. And sometimes it doesn't bind all the pigment to the paper. So sometimes with gouache, if you rub your finger on it, it's gonna smudge. Because it's so pigmented to try and be opaque. But it has a super duper fine sized particle. It has to, because you want this smooth matte finish. You don't want to have a grainy finish. I don't know why, but I'm really, really obsessed about those differences. I made a video on it though, if you remember. I had the sheet with the comparison between the 4 things. I can go dig out the sheet if you need me to. It's there. I kept it. Because I get really bothered by... I get bothered by the fact that they didn't make it easy to understand, and I'm like, it shouldn't be hard to understand because it's so many things are hard to figure out when starting an art, and why add another one? It's just mean. So a tint is with white and shade is with black, exactly. If you want to talk about a different color, usually I like to use hue, because the hue is what makes it different, makes a red different from an orange and different from a yellow and different from a green. That's the hue. If a color has more white in it, it's going to be a tint. If it has black in it, it's going to be a shade. Gouache is watercolor with white added to make it more opaque and can be wet. Acrylic gouache is gouache with enough acrylic. Well, no, it's not gouache. Acrylic gouache is matte acrylic. It's not regular gouache with polymer in it. It's just an acrylic that has, it's a bit like matte medium that you would add pigment in it. And it's not necessarily more opaque than regular gouache. The opacity is a result of the pigments you use. It's not necessarily the medium itself. Because if you look at gum arabic, it's quite transparent. And if you put acrylic polymer on anything, it's gonna be white first, but as it dries, it's gonna become transparent. So the opacity is directly a result of the pigment you put in there. And or the inert fillers. I say inert fillers because it's not filler in the sense that we see them usually, like something to make the paint less expensive through adding extra junk in it. The inert fillers are there to try to add opacity without changing the color of the thing. Because you can add white to make something more opaque, but sometimes you don't want to end up with a color that is more white. You want the color that, like, you want this bright, deep, cool red. You don't want to end up with pink. Cali race. What a nice autocorrect. What's the difference between hue and tone? Isn't tone more related to grayscale? That is how pen pastels name their color, like magenta. Magenta tint, magenta shade, and magenta extra dark. That's interesting. I'll have to check for tone, but I'm under the impression that tone is something that is possibly more used when you have a range of grayscale colors rather than full spectrum colors. Alright, it's almost time for me to sign off, I guess. It's that time of the day. Yeah, hue is just color. Oh, tone is when you mix in gray. That's it. I think you're right. I remember the visual, like I have the graphic in my head that you have the blue and then you have blue with white tint, you have blue with black shade, and you had another one in the middle, and I think you're right. I think it's blue with gray. It's a tone. Huh. More opaque than watercolors, so they literally just relabel matte acrylic as acrylic gouache. They sell you the tiny tubes for mega money. I guess so, unless you buy these. But yeah, that's it. The thing is that if you look at the display of acrylics in any art supply store, most of the acrylics they have there will be the full range of various viscosities of regular acrylics. And you don't often have a lot of matte acrylic available unless you have a display of acrylic gouache. And I don't know why they decided to call it acrylic gouache, because it makes no sense. What would it compare to? I can think of an example, but can we get all of Art Internet to start like a PSA campaign on the grrr topic, please? People need to know this, so I can stop yelling into the void about it. And it doesn't even make sense in watercolor. Well, you would have to convert it a bit if you use watercolor because of the transparency side of it. Like, to get a tint in watercolor, you would basically have to add water. Because of the transparency, your tint is going to show on the white of the paper. But if you want to get a shade, now you have to add a bit of black paint in it. Because that's not... the transparency of the white of the paper doesn't provide you that effect. But yeah, it's a bit less on topic with something that is transparent. Watercolors are non-plastic acrylic paints or something. You could add in a neutral. You don't get a shade if you neutralize it because you don't add black. A shade is with black. You lessen. Wait, what's the parameter that corresponds to adding? I think it's about saturation. If you add something to neutralize your color that is the opposite color on the color wheel, you neutralize the color and you lower its saturation. And the thing with the lowest saturation possible is like the neutral color in the middle. I can't wait for the acrylic wall paints to hit the shelves. Ah! No, it was a way of trying to explain, Paulo. It was a way of trying to explain how different it is. Like, anyway, maybe you could get some acrylic polymer and add it to your watercolor, make your own acrylic. I could, but I would have to find a way to preserve it. I've used acrylic polymer from Golden, I think. They call it GAC something, and it's just like transparent paint. And I was adding mica to it to paint some shiny things in colors that I couldn't find as metallic paints. And it dries like acrylic. It totally seals in the mica into the plastic medium, because when it's dry, it's a plastic. So yeah, it's fairly easy to sort of, if you are stuck on the fly and you need a silver paint and you have acrylic polymer and silver mica, you mix them both that up. But you need some sort of airtight thing to preserve it. Yeah, you can use acrylic medium with watercolor paints, and it's gonna make your watercolor paints into acrylics. It's gonna make them dry permanent. Just gonna seal my super makeshift stay wet palette that doesn't want it. Do whatever you want. Alright. Let me grab the paper and then. Side note, bad news. Regis Philbin passed away. No more Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with him. Aww. There it is. So that was the whole thing I put together just to try and explain this. Hey, Tsukaboo, hi! So basically it's watercolor gouache, acrylic gouache, and acrylic. These two are the same, except that this one is a bit more opaque. These two are the same, except that this one has a satiny sheen and this one is matte. The end! Have you tried mixing acrylic interference paint and watercolors? Not quite, but you would probably end up with something that dries permanent. So if you do that, make sure you rinse off your brushes and palette and don't mix much more than you need, because it's going to be hard to preserve. I made a video about this because I was kind of bothered about being told so often that, like, oh, but acrylic gouache is rewettable, and I'm like, no, it's not. It can't. It just can't. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Gum arabic mostly. Sometimes they use yellow dextrin for cheap gouache. Opacity, mostly transparent for watercolor, mostly opaque for gouache. Depends on the pigment. Matte. You can get a bit of a sheen with gouache if you rub it super hard. So there. And it is so full of pigment that if you rub it, it's gonna smudge. Watercolors should not smudge. That's it. And then these two are the acrylic based ones. They use an acrylic polymer emulsion as a base, so a plastic. This dries as plastic. You cannot reactivate plastic unless you use some sort of solvent, but that's another issue entirely. Acrylic gouache tries to be a bit more opaque, but it varies also. It's matte and it's not rewettable. Acrylic has varying opacity as well. It has a satiny sheen. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it picks up, but shiny, not shiny. Okay. And it's not rewettable at all. It's really like plastic. I got so bothered. I prefer the sheen of regular acrylics. Well, that's fortunate. I mean, there's so much choice. Where's the difference between acrylic gouache and acrylic paint? The finish. Gouache is matte. The acrylic matte. They should have called it matte acrylic. Good. Bruh. Yeah, so acrylic gouache is matte. Regular acrylic is not matte. That's the only difference. Price point might be a difference, but you know, in terms of look of things. You might maintain that the pigment is coarser, but it's not. It's not coarser. It's super fine. You can because you can make washes and you can use gouache as a transparent medium too if you add enough water to it. And here they just have less. Here it's like gouache is watercolor on steroids. They had a lot more pigment in it, which is why it has smudged. It's the extra pigment that is not bound by the gum arabic. So that's why, but it is still super fine. You can definitely not see any. Like it looks exactly the same as watercolor next to it. There's no difference. It is fine. And if anything, if you have coarser pigment, you have something that is less transparent, because the coarse pigment is going to clump together like granulation and you will see the white of the paper through it. I think Fairy Dust and I are exactly in the same boat regarding this. They don't add more binder in gouache because gouache is smudgy, which means it doesn't have more binder. Hey, have a good sleep, Annette. Thank you so much for being here. him to call. Yeah, we're gonna end up with like matte acrylic on the market in addition to those two, and there's gonna be more ripping off hair. They don't use a different pigment for gouache, they use the exact same pigments as they do for watercolors. Like if you take ultramarine blue and gouache and you make a wash of it, it's gonna have much finer particles than watercolor that you want to granulate of the same pigment. Because you don't want, like, the appeal of gouache was for design and illustration on a commercial level, and you don't want to have granulation in there. Alright, that's enough rambling for one day, I guess. But I mean, I guess just to sort of as a finishing word on this topic, if you have any kind of inquiry about this type of stuff, I would encourage you to try it yourself if you have the possibility. And yeah, so if you are curious to see, like, oh, can I re-wet acrylic gouache, and you have some, you put the drop on a piece of paper, you let it dry completely, and then you try to re-wet it. And then you see, it does it re-wet, does it not? There's the answer. Same with all of these, like, what's the finish of a thing? Like, when I put on the gouache here and I was like, oh, can I smudge the watercolor? I cannot. Can I smudge the gouache? Oh, I can. Holy moly, it smudges a lot. Like, doing the test yourself is how you're gonna remember it the most. Does gouache have more chalk? It has kaolin clay often. If they had chalk to it, the only place where chalk is kind of useful is if you have a color that's mixed in with white. Chalk is often more used for making gesso rather than the paint that goes on the gesso. But yeah, if a color is like this red, this is gouache, this doesn't have any chalk in it because it's bright red. If you had chalk in it, it's gonna turn pink. Brands like M. Graham and Schmincke use the exact same pigments for watercolor and gouache. Yeah, exactly. And you can sort of tell. Though I would have to say, though, I know I have the ultramarine blue gouache from M. Graham, so I would have to compare it to the watercolor to see how it if it has the same texture when it dries or when it's used as a wash. So maybe the clay is the texture. Well, the clay is usually quite fine. I have a bag of kaolin clay because I wanted to try making white gouache at some point. And it's really super duper fine. But yeah, I have yet to find any gouache that has texture. All the gouaches I've tried all had a really smooth finish. So I don't know, maybe it's a situation where the specifics of the gouache Dominic saw versus the ones I've seen. The only acrylic gouache that I know of that has a coarser feel is the Japanesque paints by Turner, and it's on purpose. They sort of add a sort of fiber in the mix to create something that has texture, but that's the whole point of that range. Their regular range matte acrylic is smooth. I guess the one difference argument in favor of larger pigments in gouache is some of the finest pigments are very transparent and not suitable for gouache. Yeah, but you end up with gouaches that are transparent too, in those cases. Like if you look at quinacridone gold gouache, it's transparent, mostly. Well, they don't have exactly quinacridone. Quinacridone red. Like, it is fairly transparent. If they have coarser pigments, indeed, it's not visible. You don't see any difference unless, I don't know, I guess I'll have to do a bunch of swatches, but I've never seen it happen. Yeah, like you won't find a nickel azo yellow gouache. Yeah, that's it. Or if you do, it's gonna be basically watercolor, I guess. Or a tint, so sort of a light azo yellow. But yeah, I've never found any texture in gouache, so that's why I'm not struggling with this idea. For the same pigment, the watercolor and gouache pigment size should be the same. It is quite transparent though. Phthalo blue gouache is quite see-through. It's just that the transparency of the pigment, if you use it over white, it's gonna show, like if you want to layer it and cover up something with the phthalo blue, but then again, it is so dark and intense that that might work in its favor in terms of gouache. Wikipedia, citing a book from 1977, says gouache is often larger particle size and higher pigment to binder. Yeah, the higher pigment to binder ratio is definitely demonstrable. I'm just not sure about the larger particle size, because why? If it's a larger particle size, it's not noticeable. Anyway, this is perhaps something to explore further, because I was really not under the impression that the particle size was any different. Alright, so next experiment away another time. Perhaps next live stream we'll dig out all the gouaches and figure things out by experimenting. Well, that's the thing. I think a wash of gouache with a lot of water will be super smooth. That's the thing. But yeah, I mean, pending the experiment. I have gouaches, I have a bunch of different ranges. I will definitely try this out because I am curious about it. What is lithopone? It's the name of the pigment PW5. It's kind of a filler pigment. But it's still not acrylic. It's not! Let's put some art on the end screen a bit so it's less boring. Ta-da! Art. Alright, so arguing about gouache aside, Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's been a very fun stream, and also we always end up talking about super funny stuff, whether it's 90s trend, food, or specifics of pigments. Oh, sorry, that's funny. Alright, so I hope you guys have a really nice week and a nice weekend, and there will be another Caturday live stream next Saturday. And if you are curious about a bunch of stuff, there's a few links in the description. There's a Patreon, there's Ko-fi. Difference between them is that Patreon is more of a recurring monthly thing, and Ko-fi is more like a tip jar. My Instagram, where I post the paintings. We have a Discord too. If you want to keep chatting about all sorts of things during the week, you can join up there. It's free, it's fun. We are having a blast over there. And yeah, so am I missing something? A great big thank you to Otto and Lise for moderating. And a great big thank you to everyone for the super fun, okay, just learning, not arguing. There's a tiny bit of arguing because Dominic says a thing and I'm like, no, for no possible reason, but I want to check it out. I want to test it out to make sure, because yeah, like I've said, that's the way I work. So I don't mean any offense. I don't mean to argue either. I'm not a confrontational person, except when it comes to acrylic gouache. I will fight for it. It's not real gouache. Okay, anyway. Stay sane, everyone. Put your masks on. And we will see each other next week. Bye bye.